Hey gang, listen to this. You know what? Oftentimes we place a lot of reliance on the media. The media sometimes can push an agenda, can push a non-existent narrative. I want you to listen attentively to this interview of Xoli Mngambi, how he phrases his question, and then I'm going to show you a clip where Thabo Mbeki was speaking on the same matter. For me, it's rather very discomforting, very disingenuous for a media platform to ask and phrase a question and force an analyst to analyze things in this fashion, considering how sensitive the issues of race and tribalism in this country are. Listen to this.
Party's election campaigns this weekend ahead of the May 29 vote. Well, KZN, the hotly contested provinces, at least one of them, including Gauteng here. It's often been said that these two provinces, they potentially could be snatched away from the grip of the ANC. Joining me for this analysis is Mpumelelo Phungula, a political analyst. Mr. Phungula, good evening to you and thank you for your time. When you hear former President Mbeki appealing to potential voters not to vote along tribal lines, why do you think he invokes that line specifically?
Good evening to you, Xoli, and the listeners. I'm quite confused as to why the former president would speak in that fashion. I was less surprised when it was the ANC Youth League president, Mr. Colin Malachi, who argued along those lines. I think if you look at the last election provincially, and this was at the time President Ramaphosa was already the president of the ANC and country. I mean, the president of the ANC, KZN was the best performing ANC province. And this was after, of course, his predecessor, Mr. Jacob Zuma, had left office. This is also, I think it also plays into what was said by President Ramaphosa, I think during the 2021 riots in July, where he made a statement that quite a lot of analysts and scholars seem to have found to be problematic when he spoke about ethnic mobilization being possibly the cause of the riots in 2021. I think it's very careless for leaders at such a high level to make such statements, especially if they are not founded on any statistical data. So it's disappointing to hear that President Mbeki made those remarks. I thought I had read something in one of the newspapers about him, that's President Mbeki, or former President Mbeki, having said that KZN does not vote according to ethnic lines, going against the statement made by Colin Malachi. So I'm quite surprised, Tony.
Yeah, let's talk about KZN.
Did you hear that? So this gentleman is disappointed based on the question put to him by Xoli. And he's apparently disbelieving what he read in the newspaper article. Because it is clear that he read something in the newspaper of what Mbeki actually said. But now he finds himself having to answer this falsified question by Xoli, or rather this incorrect question. I don't necessarily think Xoli meant to ask that question the way that he did. But you know, journalists, he's not going to come out and apologize and correct this. Now, let's check what Mbeki was asked by another journalist. And then let's hear how he responded. The matter to which Xoli is now referencing in this interview. Listen to this.
Mbeki has taken the party's election campaign to the second biggest voting constituency in KwaZulu-Natal, Umgungundlovu district under Moses Mabhida region. Mbeki's first order of the day was to pay homage to fallen struggle stalwarts Moses Mabhida and Johnny Makhathini. On the core of the business of the day, Mbeki says he's hopeful the people of KwaZulu-Natal will return the party to power. Mbeki dismissed suggestions that people in the province vote along tribal lines.
I don't think it's got to do anything with...
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? He dismissed suggestions that people in the KZN province vote alongside tribal lines. Not that he is saying they vote along tribal lines. And why was he finding himself having to answer this? Because it's a question posed by journalists. Journalists always have a narrative. That's why the context of what was said, how was it said it, what were the bases of it being said are very, very important. So let's rewind it and then hear Mbeki saying it for himself.
Mbeki's first order of the day was to pay homage to fallen struggle stalwarts Moses Mabhida and Johnny Makhathini. On the core of the business of the day, Mbeki says he's hopeful the people of KwaZulu-Natal will return the party to power. Mbeki dismissed suggestions that people in the province vote along tribal lines.
I don't think it's got to do anything with who leads the ANC. It's got to do with the performance of the ANC itself. I think the people are responding to that. And what really, that's why I'm insisting on this thing. That I can't just go to the population and say vote ANC and stop there. I must say vote ANC. But I must add to that. I must add to that that the ANC I'm saying you must vote for is an ANC that must be able to discharge its responsibilities to the people. So I think that I don't think really it matters who's the leader. The population are not responding to that. The population of KZN are responding to what the ANC is doing. These things that Spamandla was raising here. Crime, water, all of this. The ANC has made an undertaking to the province, to the nation about what it must do. Formally came here to Mpumelelo Stadium and then launched a big, stadium was full, launched a manifesto. That launch was a commitment to the people, so we must do what we can to implement it. And my view is that the population of this province, I know something about the population of this province. I've worked with the population here. They will listen to what we're saying, and hopefully will believe us that we're not just telling them, we're telling them something real.
Historically, Mbeki...
Did you hear that? So at no point in time is a narrative that Xoli Mngambi with his analyst Phungula there that are creating the impression that Mbeki has said KZN votes based on tribal lines. Mbeki never said that. And Mbeki was obviously responding to a journalist's question. He was not just coming up with a thought out of his head from a thin air that people from KZN don't vote based on the tribal line or they vote based on the tribe. He never said that. You've heard it for yourself. It is therefore a falsified narrative that Mbeki suggested that people in KZN vote alongside tribal line. We need to be very, very careful about things like these. It shouldn't be allowed that journalists can go publicly in a public domain and say things like that, because that's how you start civil wars. That's how you start civil wars. So such narrative, such rhetoric in the public domain should be avoided at all costs. I'm disappointed in the analyst in the studio as well, because he seems to have known what Mbeki really said based on what he read in the media. And he should have perhaps pushed back to Xoli and said, please play me the clip when Mbeki was actually making such a statement. And this is very, very important. We need evidence of the claims being made by the journalists when they push down questions down your throat. Or else you could give the other person a benefit of a doubt and say, I doubt very much, I have not heard the person saying that, I'm going to take your word for it. And if that person has made that statement, it is unfortunate because of ABCD. The journalist in the studio is saying it was understandable when Malachi said that. It is disappointing that such a leader, and thereby now goes to Mbeki's credibility. Is Mbeki a credible leader? As far as I'm concerned, I'm not aware. You see, my problem here is this. Just because I have a problem with Mbeki campaigning for the ANC, I'm not going to lie on him. I have to take his words and his actions. Okay? To me, what is just disappointing is that his actions are not consistent to his words of last year. But can I accuse the man? Because if he had made that statement, it would appear as though he's a tribalist. I can't accuse a man of being a tribalist at all. I would be lying if I said that. And this is very, very important for people who listen to videos of this nature to know that whilst I may disagree with Mbeki or Zuma or whoever, I'm not going to lie on the person and create stories that are non-existent, because then that's no longer information or opinion based on anything but mere hatred of the individual. I'm not in a business of that. My channel is simply meant to give you my analysis of the political dispensation and many other topical issues that affect our society, and also to do reaction videos based on facts and the fact that I'm well traveled. Therefore, this obviously or hopefully will be a learning curve for those who require the education. Okay? And it can be educational if it is based on lies. I'm very disappointed with Xoli Mngambi. Very, very disappointed with the type of question that he asked there. I'm not aware if he has come back publicly. If any of you know that he has come back publicly to apologize for that line of questioning, because you can see that line of questioning is completely contrary to what Samkele Maseko of SABC is saying here. And this is what they are referencing, by the way. It's just that they're not going to mention SABC because they are from two different stations. This is when Mbeki was asked this question by a journalist. And he clearly said, I don't think people in KZN vote in response to the leader who's leading. It doesn't matter who the leader is. They respond to service delivery. That's basically what Mbeki said in a nutshell, if I must analyze what he said for you. Okay, you tell me what you think down below. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do so. Help me to grow the Mzansi and USA News channel as much as possible, and circulate the video so that people can really see the truth of what Mbeki really said. Now, you may be one of those who are in anti-Mbeki. That's fine, but you must be anti-Mbeki, and your anti-Mbekiness must be based on truth. This is very, very important. Okay, guys, I'll leave it at that. Ciao, ciao. See you in the next video. Bye for now.